Hey everyone, it's Future here, and welcome to this ultra professional setup we've got going today. Don't mind my shininess, it's like 28 degrees here, so it's very hot. So I'll try to make things pretty quick so we can get on with our lives. Today we're looking at the Plasma Coil, a collaboration between Gamechanger Audio and Third Man Records, of course well known because of who? No, that's a joke. Jack White, of course, Third Man Records. Well known for the white stripes and all sorts of nastiness he does with his guitar. But we're not talking about guitar today, we're talking about bass, pink string bass to be very precise. The pedal board we're looking at today looks a little bit intimidating, but the disorder is not connected at all, it's just there to fill out the screen. On the left we have the sculpture, which is basically a compressor and a booster. Then we have the most expensive Y cable in the world. Probably not, but it's a very expensive Y cable, which is basically splitting the signal into a signal that's going to the plasma coil and a signal that's going straight into the DAW. So aside from this dirty channel, we can also get but we'll come back to that a little bit later, why that setup is actually a good idea. So let's talk about the plasma channel. Plasma channel, very straightforward channel. Signal goes in, goes through this little vacuum tube thingy here, gets converted to a shit ton of volts, and at the end it is turned back into a audio signal, mostly because it's very noisy. What is the big trick that this pedal does that the normal plasma pedal, which you have probably seen, doesn't do? This has a bit of extra control, but they decided to completely remove the blend knob. So this thing, it's always on, just like Jack White, which is probably the reason why it is always on. So there is no subtle on this pedal. It's on, it's noisy, and that's it. Very straightforward. So what we have going on here, very simple bass tone. This is just basically running straight into my recording interface. No caps or anything weirdness, just straight into the interface, that's it. If we turn this on, the first control we get on the top here is called voltage. That's not the best angle to see the knobs, but that's the voltage knob. So basically, to make anything in electricity cross a gap, you need a lot of voltage, or else the signal will just stay on one point and will not go anywhere, which is the state we're in right now, where the pedal gates the signal because there's nothing passing through. As soon as we play something and we give it a little bit of voltage, there we go. You can see a very, very faint little spark. Let me turn off the light. And as soon as there isn't enough voltage there anymore to cross the gap, the pedal will gate entirely. If we turn up the voltage, we're giving it more power so it can more easily bridge this gap. Your signal will be more consistent. The effect will be a lot brighter on the little tube as well. And once you get over a certain point, it will be a little bit too easy to cross, and it will actually get very chaotic because it can actually search for other ways to cross this where the signal degrades more. So the higher you push the voltage, the more chaos, the more sustain, the less likely for a usable tone, which is awesome. So with the voltage lower, the very low input of me moving over the string is not enough to make it cross over. So it's entirely gated. Once I start moving up, so yeah. This is not exactly a amount of fuzz control per se, because it is going to be noisy either way, even at low settings. It is very noisy. It does add a little bit of high, but it is going to be noisy at whichever setting. It's just when you put it really low, really need to hammer your guitar to get any signal out of it. Or you need to put a booster pedal before it. That's your voltage control. Let's keep it somewhere here. Below that we get a low frequency, which is currently centered. We can move this to the left. Or to the right. And it goes from a little bit of boost to too much boost, and from a little bit of cutting to way too much cutting. Very powerful control, especially when combined with the high EQ. Very useful to somewhat tame the signal, although again it's going to be noisy because that's the entire point of this pedal, of course. So at noon we get this, and if we turn up the low a little bit, get a little bit of the high. Very cool. Master output level just controls the gain, and this center knob is where things get interesting. So this pedal works with electric signals, and these electric signals can be modified, and in effect you can add harmonics or subtract harmonics and you get different effects. So the first effect is basically a boost, which adds a whole lot of extra current, which makes things louder and noisier. So without boost, with boost, these can be latched or momentary if you want to use your foot to keep that high gain at certain points, or you can just turn it on and off. But aside from that, you can also add and subtract harmonics. So the first mode is like an octave down, although because it's electronics, it's not exactly how it works. It's not just an octave down, it's a very messy way to achieve an octave down. Anyways, on a bass guitar, not the best idea in the world, but let's do it anyways. Very nasty sounding. You can also do a sort of 2 octave down kind of thing, which gets very ridiculous. It's basically an level at that point. You can move it to kind of an octave up kind of sound. Which is definitely my favorite mode, and then you get a few mixed mode with octave up, octave down, and dual octave down, octave up. Again, not the greatest sound for a bass guitar, but let's go through it. So again, normal signal. Very nasty. So I definitely, when playing it on bass, I'm strongly in favor of the kind of octave up thing and the boost. The other sounds get a little bit on the nasty side. Then again, could be just the sound you're looking for. It could be cool if you're like playing a riff and then at the end of the song you just devolve it into some kind of weird. Or something like that. So that's some pretty cool stuff. Downside of this pedal being it's an always on pedal. So basically, as soon as you engage it, things get noisy. There's just no way around it. The removal of the blend knob is kind of an obvious choice because it's like a Jack White signature kind of pedal. So obviously they wanted to really encompass the raw nature of what Mr. White does, and he's pretty well known for making very gnarly sounds with his guitar, so this definitely fits his style. For most players, having that blend would probably be somewhat nice. So that's where signal splitting might be the way around this, although I wouldn't advise buying a pitchfork just for splitting signals, but hey, it's what I have laying around and it works, so it's good enough for me. So the basic idea is that you just use two tracks, a clean track and a not so clean track, and just dial back. a very good pedal for making demon noises as well. So that's the Plasma Coil by Gamechanger Audio. There's a few more tricks you can do. You can really boost the signal going in, which helps quite a bit with getting a good signal in, because this is quite a gain hungry pedal. If there's not enough gain, the circuit will just not close. You will just get like little sputters. Actually, we can just easily show that by dialing down the gain quite a bit. Yep. So you can play around with that as well. And the tone going in does determine quite a bit about the characteristics of the tone coming out. So it's interesting to combine with auto distortion, which is not in the scope of this video. So we'll do that later on sometime. Plasma Coil by Gamechanger Audio. Very cool pedal, very specific. Definitely would not recommend for everyone because it's noisy, loud, chaotic. I actually honestly don't quite know how I'm going to use this, but it's a ton of fun to just throw it on, put a lot of gain into it, and enjoy all the madness coming out at the other end. If there's anything you'd like to see with this little thing, let me know. I am planning on throwing some synths through it to see how it behaves when there are some synths involved. And we can maybe combine it with the disorder or something, see what that does. For now, that's the end of this video. I hope you found it interesting. If there are any questions, leave them down below in the thingy. Oh, I'm out of down there, down below and stuff. And if you like this video, leave a like, follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. You know the drill. Have a great day.